So this is my speech on why we should start switching to why we should use renewable energy. And I just want to talk a little bit about how much non-renewable energy we use and how bad it is for our environment. So starting out, we're about 80% dependent upon non-renewable energy sources such as coal, oil, natural gas, uranium, plutonium, stuff like that. And at the rate we're going right now, we will eventually run out of fossil fuels. And at the moment, it's about 50 to 60 years until we run out of oil and natural gas, and upwards of 100, 110 years for coal. But when that runs out, we're gonna have to completely switch to renewable energy, which right now it's only about 15% of our energy dependence or usage, and 85% for non-renewable energy. Once those fossil fuels are gone, that will end up having to drop to zero, and we'll have to completely switch to renewable energy. And if we start investing now into renewable resources, we'll have more technology in the future. We'll also be able to start reducing the pollution, which helps not break our ozone down as much, but it also helps with breathing and health problems. Right now, to pay for gas and utility bills on a monthly basis, it costs about $130 to $180 monthly, which equals out to be about $1,500, $2,000 a year, which is a lot of money. And if people start thinking about the investment into solar panels, and if you get a certain amount of them, if you go over, like if you create more energy than you can use, the government will pay you for all the extra energy you make, which is just free money to come in, but it is a good investment just to put into solar panels. One of the big things that I don't like about non-renewable energy is how bad it's making global warming, because global warming is one of the biggest problems we have in the world right now that we're kind of losing control of. And one big example of it is there's a Icelandic glacier called the Jakobshavn that's losing 85 million tons of ice per day, and every single year that's going up by tens of millions, just because how bad we're polluting the ozone layer and how hot it's starting to heat up here. It's so terrible. And another good example of that is about every summer, half of the ice in the North Pole is just gone, which it used to be nowhere near that. It used to be, I think, 10% of it would melt away. Now it's up to half every single year. But then it freezes back and then it goes back into water. It's every single year. And switching to renewable energy, it can help lower the pollution output, our human emissions, which will help our ozone layer stay thick and stay safe for our environment. And it'll also slow down global warming, which will start so we won't be losing so much ice and heating up our earth more and more, and just getting more unhealthy for our bodies, and start investing into renewable energy so we can learn more technology, get more advancements in it, so we can start to create energy faster and better. At the moment, we know about 7 main energy sources, like renewable energy sources, and the main 4 are solar energy, wind energy, geothermal, and hydroelectric. And one big one is geothermal, and it's really cool to think about because Iceland ran 99.96% on renewable energy, and specifically it's geothermal, which geothermal is the energy it's the energy of the heat trapped underneath the Earth's surface, and they take that heat and turn it into energy, and they power their houses, stuff like that, heat their houses and everything. Iceland is completely dependent upon that. And in Iceland, the whole country is ran by 6 different geothermal plants. They have one of the lowest human caused pollution emissions in the world, and their energy, it's not much cheaper. It's only about a cent cheaper, but their energy is renewable and it's never ending. Like they'll have their energy output for the rest of their lives, and it'll never end. But in America, in China, Mexico, South Korea, they have some of the highest human emissions in all of the world, like all of every country and everything. And by that, it's we're gonna eventually run out of the fossil fuels we need, and once it hits that point, people that don't have renewable energy are just gonna go blackout. They won't have energy until we get our technology better and stuff like that. And about 80 to 85% of America is dependent upon non-renewable energy sources, and only about 15% of our energy consumption in America is renewable energy. And as the number of fossil fuels start to drop, the cost will then eventually just start to skyrocket, which will have to lead, like it'll force a transition to renewable energy. But since the demand will be so high for it, both costs, renewable and unrenewable, will go up just because supply and demand. It's crazy to look at into, because if we don't start investing into solar panels, renewable energy now, in the future there are people that are gonna just destroy our economy, and people will fall into some type of drought, a depression, something like that. And we need to start to transition into renewable energy. And there's another renewable energy that I want to talk about. It's called hydroelectric. It's the energy that movement of water gives out, and we use that to turn into energy, power houses, stuff like that. If you really think about it, unless global warming gets too bad, our rivers will probably never stop flowing, which means that those energy sources will be there forever. Like it'll be an infinite source of energy. Right now, we have the Hoover Dam in the Arizona-Nevada border, and it produces about 4 billion kilowatt hours of power every single year, which is enough to power about 1.3 million homes, and that's only one of our dams. We have many others, but if we start investing more into them, we'll be able to get more and get a higher output of energy, clean energy that's not ever ending. Right now, hydroelectric energy is about 7% of our energy consumption every single year, and out of all the renewable energy types, it is about 40% of our renewable energy that we use, which is a good thing, but we also need to start focusing more into renewable energy and not non-renewable. I believe if we start to research more into it, we could reduce our pollution by increasing the forms that we create renewable energy. And the more research we get into it, we'll be able to know more about it and be able to create more ways about it. If we increase the households now that use renewable energy, then we can lower our usage of non-renewable resources. We won't have to focus as much on those. This in turn will lower our pollution emissions. Also, I believe it would provide a lot more new jobs, which is a good thing for our economy. I kind of want to talk about just the jobs that it'll produce into our economy and the minuses to non-renewable energy. Non-renewable energy right now has about 9.8 million jobs, but as we start to run out of fossil fuels, those jobs will just start to drop. You won't be able to have that job no more once oils and fossil fuels just disappear. They won't be there no more, and it'll start to raise our unemployment by a lot. Over time, if we start to transition from oil, gas, natural, like everything like that, etc., like non-renewable energy sources, switch to solar, wind, hydroelectric, etc., those renewable energy sources that we can have forever, the amount of jobs will keep going up just as oil and gas goes down. Right now, there are about 3.2 million jobs out there for renewable energy, and a few of the big number of jobs ones are solar energy. Right now, there's about 350,000 jobs out for solar energy, like stuff relating to that. In the next 4 or 5 years, there should be about 200,000 more. That's about 500,000 jobs just from this. There's other branches like hydroelectric, which has about 150 to 200,000 right now. And in the next 5 to 10 years, there should be 100 to 250,000 more. There's 35,000 jobs for geothermal. In the next 5, 10, 15 years, there should be 35 to 55,000 more. This is a great thing for economy because it'll keep producing jobs as long as time will be it. As long as we keep advancing our renewable energy sources, we'll start to have more and more jobs, which is an amazing thing. I completely believe that we should start to switch to renewable energy sources because it'll be better for our environment, it'll also be better for our economy in the long run. We'll be able to keep living the life that we have with more luxuries and stuff like that and not have to rely on non-renewable energy. Like we won't need gas and stuff like that in the future. But it will have to come a long way, and we're starting to already lead that way, which is a great thing. This is why I believe we should switch to renewable energy.